Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. My gosh, Brady Kannon nailed the Waste Management Open last week. But when you bet on sports, you're nailing nothing. This is a good word to the wise. You can be exactly right in your analysis and still not make money, because who in the world would have predicted, first of all, that Chris Gotterup would have pushed Hideki Matsuyama and Scottie Scheffler, by the way, who was in the clubhouse just waiting to see if he was going to get there. And then Gotterup beats Hideki Matsuyama. Brady was on the show last week. He's like, this is the guy. This is going to win. I think he's going to beat Scottie. I'm going with this guy.
Oh
Sorry.
man, it was brutal, but you're
sorry.
exactly right. It's sometimes you get the handicap exactly right, and the results just don't play out that way. We see that in all sports, and Hideki's not a guy that typically blows a lead either. When he had gone into the final round, I think he was 5 for 5 in holding leads and going on to win. We know he's not a shaky guy that chokes away leads, and he didn't necessarily choke it away. He didn't really play that well. It was kind of miraculous how he was able to hold it together. He only hit 3 fairways all day on Sunday, and then of course missing the last fairway was what did us in ultimately. But
Right.
yeah, just as incredible, like you allude to, was Scottie coming back. I mean, my goodness, he shoots over par the very first day and still cashes a top 5 finish. Finished third, one shot out of the playoff. Absolutely unbelievable.
It was. And congrats to Gotterup, who wins. Here we are, 2 years in a row in the month of February that we're getting 60 to 1s and 50 to 1s coming in. So, I mean, I don't know if it's like spring training, I guess, for the big guys. I don't know. Scottie did win one, obviously. Okay, so
Right.
speaking of which, this is a very polarizing event this week. Some people, Brady, love it, the Pebble Beach ProAm, and some people, in our view, hate it. They hate the fact that there's, it's more focused on the celebrities and Bill Murray and all the guys who play in this thing. I don't know what your opinion on it is, but I could say this: Rory is back. Rory McIlroy is playing this week. So naturally, that's going to be a major focus of this. Not just Scottie involved, but obviously, and Xander too. But with Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler going toe to toe, that's probably going to be the focus of the weekend.
Yeah, I really like the fact, Craig, that they have made this a signature event. And you're right. When it used to just be the standard tour stop, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, it was all about Ray Romano and Bill Murray. And no, I wasn't thrilled with that. It wasn't that bad to be a spectator. I actually attended it a few times, and that was kind of fun. But for betting and watching, I didn't care about Aaron Rodgers playing golf and yada yada. So now the fact that it's a signature event and you've got the top 80 players basically in the world on tour, what have you, the amateurs now only play on Thursday and Friday, and there's not as many celebrities around anymore. So it has changed, I believe, for the better. And I believe a golf course like Pebble Beach really should have signature status. I mean, it's one of the most iconic properties in the world as far as golf courses go. So I think it's great. Justin Rose, of course, a winner earlier this year. He's won here before. Rory's your defending champion, a U.S. Open not too long ago here in 2019. So, Rory, after he won last year, called it one of golf's cathedrals. And so it is kind of cool that the Pro-Am, the amateur part of it, has kind of, decreased, and the signature and the big name guys that are here in the field has increased. And that's the way it really should be, I believe.
So you got some picks this week for us. So, folks, here's what I'm going to advise you to do. If you're watching the show, Brady is about to hit one. I think so. I'm feeling it this week. So take out your phone, because we're going to show you a graphic. And if you're just watching my lips move, you can't hear me, because, some people watch that way. Hopefully you have some caps on. Brady, give us your picks this week. I got a feeling you're getting closer and closer to nailing one. This is going to be the week.
Well, I tell you what, I like it when you have these gut feelings. I remember you had one with the Washington Commanders last year, and that one came to fruition. Absolutely. So this is good mojo here. I went with Viktor Hovland. I like him at like 30 to 1 or better. You might be able to find a 35 out there. He won the U.S. Amateur here in 2018, and then at the U.S. Open in 2019 at Pebble Beach, he was the low amateur, finishing 12th. This is a special place for Viktor Hovland. Always plays well here, and he comes off of a 10th place finish last week in Phoenix. I think he's live this week. Cameron Young doesn't have a great history here, but has done very well at Torrey Pines, another coastal California location with the Poana grass greens. And Cameron Young, really has just been on a heater ever since he won for the first time on tour last year. Got him at 38-1. Again, in that 35 40 range, I think is good on Cameron Young. And then Maverick McNeely, who literally grew up on this course. His father is started Oracle or one of those major,
Mhm.
Silicon Valley companies. I can't remember who it is, Scott McNeely or something like that. So Maverick literally grew up here in Pacific Grove, knows this course like the back of his hand, and he's been playing fantastic golf as of late. He's in the neighborhood of 35 or 40-1. And then a couple of long bombs, a couple Canadians, Craig. Nick Taylor at in the neighborhood of 80 to 100-1, won here in 2020, and Taylor Pendrith, who has done marvelous work here, a couple of top 10 finishes in the past at both Pebble Beach and Torrey Pines. He is also in that 80 to 100-1 neighborhood. So a 5-pack here, and I also played each and every one of them for a top 20 finish.
Okay, fair enough. I'll go with Hovland here. I like that name. I think Hovland, 32-1. That's speaking to me here on the show. So where's the PGA Tour headed? I know look, obviously everybody's waiting for the Masters, but where's the is it the Florida swing next? I know that's March usually, right? Still a couple of weeks away.
2 more weeks, and it's really been a great stretch here. You go from Torrey Pines to Phoenix to Pebble Beach, and then next week is one of my absolute favorites, Riviera in Pacific Palisades, California, which we had to skip last year because of the fire. So we'll be back
Hmm,
at
okay.
Riviera in Pacific Palisades, Genesis Invitational, Tigers event, and then we head your way to Florida, my friend.
All right, great stuff, Brady. As always, we'll check in with you again next week. Thanks for coming on.